Cocaine in my nose, got rose in my cup, though. Shawty climbing my phone, she got me locked in on cup, though. Cocaine in my nose, got rose in my cup, though. Shawty climbing my phone, she got me locked in on cup, though.
Well, good evening, everybody. It's a pleasure to be back. George Morgan here at your service. It's PSGL, it's Wednesday night, it's Spain tonight as well. Lots on the table, lots of battling. The title contest is still alive and kicking. And Jack, it's only taken us 10 rounds. We're on the 11th. It's all to play for.
Boromant goes on the inside and takes the lead on the final lap of the race. Now it's side by side between Boromant and Warner, but Boromant's got the inside.
Here in this phenomenal race, Cameron Dowd looking to take P2 in his very first PSGL F1 PC race. Incredible to say the least. You see that Putin still lead. 1.5 seconds. DRS is the name.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to PSGL. Welcome to round 2 here in the fantastic Las Vegas streets. Like as you see, we're dressed for Las Vegas, me and Josh. PSGL have flown us out to Vegas, the first race here in Las Vegas on the Strip. It's going to be fantastic. I know the set is deceiving, but we are here in Las Vegas.
It's looking brilliant, honestly. I'm so excited to be here. Everything's gone really well. Huge thank you to PSGL and Connor for getting us out here to Vegas. It's looking real good. Speaking of which, he's just texted me.
He's probably just so looking forward to us here at PSGL at FC. What?
Did you check the flight?
Yeah, it said Vegas. Did it not say Vegas?
No.
No?
Connor's just said that we should be in Bahrain by now, and he hopes we've landed safely. Are we in Bahrain?
Wait, it's a desert. I thought...
Mate,
I dressed for Vegas.
I dressed for Vegas? What do you mean you dressed for Vegas? I thought
Are you serious? We're in Bahrain.
It looks like we're in Bahrain. This is embarrassing. Oh dear.
That's just... Oh, God.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, tell us...
Anyway.
Well, hopefully you got some facts about Bahrain.
I do.
Anyway.
It's going to be a good race, fingers crossed. But
It is.
Nevertheless, enough with tomfoolery. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to F6 PSGL Round 2 around the Bahrain International Skier Circuit. Don't worry, we won't be dressed like this for the entire stream. Just a little bit.
Just a bit.
Just a bit.
A little bit.
Thought we'd have a little bit of fun with you guys. Keep entertaining. Look in here. We've already got a question of, is Yana racing today? I don't know. Is Yana racing today? Is Yana racing today?
I don't. He might not be. He might be in Vegas. I think he's in Vegas. So,
he got the right ticket.
He got the right flight.
Yeah, no, we're Muppets.
Yeah.
But yeah, the rest of the F6 lot have ended up being dragged into Bahrain with us here. But
yeah,
I feel like it's only fair if we end up showing the results of what happened last week.
Of course.
So just gonna put the driver standings up here for you a minute. We can see Napadovsky leading the way after that phenomenal race we had around Interlagos, getting fastest lap as well, which is something that we didn't really notice. But yeah, we've got Steven in the Haas behind and Emil in the Mercedes. But, of course, this is a team championship, so we can stare at the drivers as much as we want, but we do have to look here at the team championship with Alpine and Haas tied on points due to Rene Klein's DNF in the first race.
Yeah.
Unfortunate, but
Unfortunate. But
it's
it keeps
also
our title close.
yeah, it's neck and neck heading into the second race, and hopefully, if it stays neck and neck for a little bit longer, you know, it'll be good. We'll be able to keep this close fight because last week was absolute mayhem. And I, for one, am quite glad that we're not actually racing in Vegas because the slipstream would have been insane.
Yes, but I think it's still going to be insane here. Obviously, I think we have a track map of Bahrain. But yeah, Bahrain is a Helmut-Tilke circuit, a special Helmut-Tilke
Yeah.
circuit.
A good one.
A good one, one of the better ones. 3 DRS zones, one down the back straight, and then one as you come through turn 3, and then one as you come out of turn 10. Very tricky braking zones for the drivers. And it'll be very interesting to see how they get on here. And we will be going into qualifying very shortly, as we will be racing with, I believe, 14 drivers today. Not as many as we had last week, but I think a lot of people. I think a lot of people were expecting us to race in Vegas. Clearly, we were as well.
Yeah.
And
I mean, we got the wrong flight.
I know. How we ended up here. It's completely opposite sides of the world. I don't know how we messed that one up. But
Yeah.
you know. But hopefully this track will be fantastic for racing. Short qualifying session into a 29-lap race. Tyre wear is going to be super important around here because this track is abrasive. It's I believe, the most abrasive circuit on the calendar. Am I right, Josh?
It has a absolute despicable mix of bitumen and tarmac and concrete built into the surface of the track to make it so horribly abrasive. But you did mention we had a little track map. We got a little track guide. So I feel like we should just roll that real quick, just so you guys can kind of visualize. If you're not too aware of Bahrain's national circuit, you can just then visualize it for a sec. Since joining in the 2004 season, Bahrain has been a staple to the F1 calendar. With 15 corners stretching over the 3.36 mile circuit, it has prompted some great racing in real life and in PSGL. The floodlights are beaming into Kia for the second round of the PSGL F6, so without further ado, let's get into the action. And then it brings it back to us. Thank you so
Gormless. I was waiting for us to get back.
Thank you very much, Josh from the future. But I do believe we may or may not be heading into the lobby right now, so we may have timed that perfectly.
I think we have. It's short qualifying time here at Bahrain. We have 18 minutes to decide the grid order for a Formula 1 Grand Prix. And if you don't know how qualifying works, well, first of all, how have you ended up here? But if you don't, I'll explain it for you. We have 14 drivers that will be trying to set the fastest lap time they possibly can within 18 minutes. And the person with the fastest lap time at the end of the session will start in first position. Obviously, the person with the slowest will start 18th, and the rest of the grid will be decided from there on down. So very simple concept, but it's not very simple when in Brazil we had drivers separated by, I think, 0.6 in terms of the entire pack, maybe even less.
Yeah, no, we had it exponentially close. To be quite honest, perhaps a little too close. It may have caused a few issues along the way, but we are here now. Hopefully it won't be as close. Hopefully we're able to really start separating themselves and find that gap where it's necessary. But so far, looks like no one's coming out of the pits. No one wants to.
Well, the thing with Bahrain, well, actually saying that I see a Red Bull coming out of the pits now, but the thing with Bahrain is because of it being in a desert, which is why I got confused with the flights, it being in the desert is that the sand really just blows onto the circuit, causing the track to really lose all grip in terms of where it can possibly find it. And obviously, F1 cars with soft tyres need as much grip as they possibly can. So it's very interesting to see. But we've got our first driver out, and it's the AlphaTauri driver was the first one out of the pits.
Yeah, of Davla, who I believe may be one of the reserves, because that name doesn't seem familiar.
No, I think he's reserving this weekend.
Yeah, we do have quite a few names that we couldn't recall from last week. We've got the likes of Nabadovsky, Sparky, Oscar, Danny, Emil, Stephen. But unfortunately for this potential constructors battle, or fortunately, I should say, there's only the one Alpine and there's only the one Haas car. Yes. So hopefully that'll be able to keep it nice and close, and we'll be able to continue racing like no tomorrow. But it'll all come down to this qualifying session. It's rather important around Bahrain. Over 50% of races are won from the front row of the grid. So we'll be looking at keeping that up here today, especially for those who try and snatch for these lap times where it's necessary. As still riding on board with Davler, he's got his teammate, perhaps offering a little bit of that support that some drivers may want as he moves to the side to potentially let his teammate through, which would be very interesting to see if they end up using the tow or slipstream.
Looks like not. He's just sort of backed off quite a lot. That's a very interesting. Clearly wants the space, but we've followed him around. You might as well watch his lap time here. He's the first driver to. Well, he won't be the first driver to set up that time, but he'll be the one we'll be watching for this first qualifying lap.
Yeah, no, I feel like we're going to have to take a little ride on board here. Would you feel comfortable about telling us the name of this very first corner?
This is the Schumacher corner, named after Michael Schumacher. He was the first person to win here in Formula 1 in, I believe, 2003.
2004, very close, very close.
One of the two. But here, so he's on a good lap here, looking pretty planted through that first sector. And nicely through that right-hander. As we go into the tricky turns 5 and turn 6, you've got to be careful not to run too far wide on that curb. Heavy braking zone, easy to snatch a front right or, in this game, a rear locking. And he's done a bit of that, but sliding through that corner nicely. Now the trickiest corners on the track, turns 9 and turns 10. So easy to lock up a front tyre there and go straight on. He's done that beautifully, in my opinion. And now down the long back straight, the second DRS, the third DRS zone on the track, into turn 11, keeping to the left-hand side here, and then drifting out wide, and then bringing it back to the left, and then riding his curb on the right-hand side nicely. And now difficult braking points to aim for the apex. He's missed it by a country mile, but he's done it nicely anyway. Now going up through the gears, up into, I believe we'll be going to 8th gear here, and then heavy braking zone for the final corner of turn 14, and then the slight kick of turn 15. And into the line to see what lap time he pulled, and he'll cross the line to do a 1:28.4. I believe his teammate didn't finish a lap.
No, I believe his teammate actually abandoned that lap time there, unfortunately. But we do have Napadovsky, who was probably one of the leading pace members last week, who's been able to come in set up purple sector 3 there, but still not quite quick enough to get it ahead. We've got the likes of El Puma, Sparky, Moore as well. Oscar King coming across the line here in the McLaren. We're going to see these lap times start falling away drastically. Obviously, Bahrain, as you mentioned, the desert, very dusty. The dust builds up on the track, and they need these cars to go around and scrape that dust off with those Pirelli soft tyres. But to be quite honest, a lot of these drivers have seemed to do very well at. In order to get Oscar King down to a 1:28.2, which is a very good last time.
And Dustin Vincent puts himself onto the front row with a 28.3. Once again, we're seeing the grid separated by, well, between 6th and now Stephen Fruha gone on to pole position with a 1:28.1. Everyone from P1 down to P6 is separated by 0.2 of a second.
Yeah, it's this is the sort of closeness we had into Lagos. No one able to really separate themselves to try and build, a definitive lead, which makes our jobs absolutely stressfully difficult. Like, if we're not able to let's try and pinpoint some of these drivers, it's up in the air. Realistically, we've still got about 12 minutes left to qualifying as well, so we could see a lot of these drivers have a couple more runs, which is fortunate for Patrick here in the Ferrari, who has invalidated his lap time, but still seems to be pushing, trying to get back to the pits as fast as possible after invalidating his lap time, which could be wise to do. I mean, you've got 11 minutes left of a session, and you can, use those tyres up to get back quicker. But is that really the smart play, considering that a lot of the strategies around here tend to start on the soft tyre and go to hard, or vice versa? How comfortable would you feel being able to push for tyres?
Well, it's very interesting because obviously, as we've mentioned in Interlagos and all other tracks, the way the tyres work in this game, you can do any sort of strategy you really want to, as long as you are good at tyre management. The thing is, I've done around this circuit back on the previous game, you can do soft medium. and your tyres are pretty much fine by the end of the race. You can start on hards and go on to softs. You can start on mediums and go on to softs. It's going to be a complete lottery. To be honest with you, the only strategy that isn't very fast around here is a two-stop, just due to obviously the nature of the circuit and how the pit lane is quite long. So I don't think we'll be seeing anyone go to a two-stop unless we get some safety car action like we did in Interlagos. But it's about how comfortable I would be on a set of tyres. I think I'd be pretty comfortable with these. If I was told I had to do a soft medium tyre strategy, I feel like I could do that very well. And I think we might see a few drivers try that. Maybe keep a set of softs for the race, because obviously they get 4 sets in qualifying, and they don't have to use all 4 sets. They can just use 3 if they want to, and most of these drivers are professional enough to do more than 1 lap on a set of soft tyres. So it'll be very interesting to see in the race what strategies people do. And also Sanga is on a lap here. He was one of our front runners for a win last week, and it didn't come off in the end. Oh, he slid it around that corner very nicely through turn 9 and 10. Looking good. That's the fastest way through that corner.
I mean, we've seen a little bit into Lagos last week, but I believe some of the drivers may have been reserving it. But unfortunately, or fortunately for some, drifting the car is the quickest way through a lot of these corners for this year's game. As Herrero has just put in a 27.9 there, taking the top of the leaderboard. Sanga isn't looking too grand this lap. He's set no purple sector so far, but he is absolutely pushing this Ferrari. You can tell the way the car is squirming on and off the throttle regardless of where, and that's enough to get him up into P3. As, yeah, I'm sure we can see some of the times fall down as Davala is going to come across the line. Remember, he set the initial fastest lap here, so we could potentially see him take a big jump up the leaderboard here for this lap. But
well, I think he was on a cooldown lap because he crossed the line with a 2-minute lap time, and I don't think that's going to set him onto pole position.
No, he's absolutely took a warm-up lap here to get those temperatures up to spot. And get the brakes also sorted, because turn 1 is a very large braking zone. It is critical for a lot of the lap time, because the way you're able to brake for that corner affects your speed coming through turn 2, turn 3, and straight all the way up to turn 4. Which, thankfully, DRS is there to help if you don't have a burst exit, but it's still not the best solution when you could, you know, maybe adjust that brake bias by a couple percent just to be able to brake that slight bit later. But of course, that comes with a risk of locking up your tyres. It's a whole risk versus reward system. As we are still on board with Davala, who set a purple Sector 1 lap time with a 28.379. He'll just be coming up to the second sector timing here in this beautiful AlphaTauri under the night sky of Sakir. And he sets a PB of a 37.9. He is pushing this car around this circuit. This could be pole position, or could be provisional pole at least. Yeah, we could be looking at an AlphaTauri lockout so far at the front too, with the gap being almost 2 tenths to second place. There's a nice little cushion here for Davala to try and pop himself into. Well, you say you want it close. How close do you want it? As now Napadovsky will be absolutely eyeballing these lap times. With a rather uncharacteristic 128.4, quite a bit off the pace for Napadovsky here. And not used to what we saw from him around Interlagos. Admittedly, a slightly different sort of circuit, a lot less downforce required. Obviously, you got this very technical sector 2, but then you do have a 3 long back straight, but Interlagos really only has that 1. So, do we think that maybe it was something to do with Napadovsky's setup, which really helps him into Lagos, that he's not quite able to recreate here? Well, I wonder if he's just one of those. Obviously, he was looking very fast in qualifying, and I just wonder if maybe he hasn't got those tyres into the right temperature. It could be a number of factors. Again, the track is very different to Interlagos. Both, obviously, normal tracks, neither of them being street circuits. So I wonder if we'll just see Napadovsky improve here. He didn't find a massive margin in the first sector. He's found 2 tenths in the middle sector. I think he will improve into 127. It just depends if he can get up close to the 2 AlphaTauri time. He's bought all the track. He's using all of it there on that left-hand side. As he comes around the final corner now, properly pushing this Alpine to the limit. DRS is enabled. Can he get 27? He gets 28.1.
and that puts him in contention of pole position, but does not put him onto pole.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, the only other driver who seems to be improving on his lap time is the Haas of Stephen Flubar here. And going green in Sector 1. Couldn't go green in Sector 2, but we're going to slowly start seeing these drivers chip away the lap time. We've still enough time for another run on another set of soft tyres, as Stephen ends up chipping it in with a 128 flat.
28 dead, exactly.
Bang on.
That is as close as you want to get it. We've had someone else just jump up the leaderboard as well. Patrick jumps into P5 after not setting a lap time. But his car P5, very close to Napadowski as well. Again, how close do you want it between apart from Nardi Perez, who I believe hasn't set a lap time that will be represented, there's what, 0.4 of a second between the 13 drivers, maybe a bit more, but there's nothing in it.
Yeah, get ready for another person to come shooting up that leaderboard as Dustin Vincent rounds the final corner with 2 green PB sectors. He's looking to close this gap up to the rest of the field as he jumps up into P4 with a very respectful lap time, as I believe Ferrari there just decided to try and nab that slight bit of slipstream. Patrick.
It's in the Fernando Alonso.
He is.
Sangar wants that slipstream into turn 1, and the Red Bull didn't really fancy doing it, but let's see if it actually costs Sangar some time, because I think he might have had to lift off a bit there, because he was going to go back into that Red Bull otherwise. Sangar comes through the first sector now. See what is he up on his time? No, he's down on his time. I think that cost him more than it gained him.
Potentially, and someone else who's very close to him on track here is Ignacio
Hero.
Yes. Right. We're going to decide now. Is it Ignacio or Hero?
Or is it Ignacio? He's really drifting around that corner. I don't know. Let's go with Hero, because that's how I would say it.
Hero. Right.
Hero.
Beautiful. Sorted. Obviously, if we have made a mistake with pronunciation of your name, apologies.
We do apologise for names.
Please come and educate us for next week. But Hero is absolutely tearing the circuit up. A PB in Sector 1. Not as
improve in Sector 2.
Yeah, not as quick in Sector 2. Potentially using a set of used tyres is something we can keep an eye on. Using the telemetry data, though, it does look like they are a fresh set, both from on 5%.
And he's diving into the pits. He knows there's only 3 minutes left, and he knows he can't improve that lap time. He's decided that he'd rather get a fresh set of tyres rather than complete the lap time. So everyone's coming in the pits now, and there's a Red Bull coming out, Sparky. I just want to have a quick look. I'm just going to have a look on the data here on my own screen. Is the lap time between everyone, which I think is very important to know. The gap between P13 and P1 is 6 tenths of a second. Between P7 and P1, there's a tenth of a second, and between P4 and P1 is 88 thousandths of a second.
Yeah, I mean, 2.8 seconds covers the entire grid, and that includes Nardi, who didn't quite set a representative lap time. That is normally what we'd see in real F1, but ignoring that, the rest of the grid is covered by 6 tenths. Now, we don't have the full 20, but that is still absolutely insane and really, really incredible to show, as El Puma will be the first one, potentially. I'm going to put the potentially out there because he seems to be burning off as much fuel as he can in the second sector, going a little slower. But going to have to ride on board with Alfa Romeo. Now, El Puma is a driver I've come across when commentating some other leagues. And a very talented driver, very quick on his day, and very quick around certain tracks. But I've not been able to see an opportunity for El Puma around Bahrain yet. So this will be a really good opportunity for me to be able to really understand and judge Puma's ability here as he comes around that final corner. And I don't want to say it, but pressure's on. Only Alfa Romeo in this race. He's going to have to do his constructor a world of good here with this lap.
He had quite a mighty race in Interlagos. I believe he was your driver of the day in the end.
Indeed he was.
He made some fantastic overtakes through the rest of the grid. I really enjoyed commentating on him. And just through that first corner, he looked sharp. He looked on it. DRS is enabled now. as it's heavy braking zone once again. Just kissed that apex on the right-hand side. And just looking at maybe a bit outside. He's invalidated his lap time.
Oh, that is a travesty there.
That's really tragic, that. And if he guns it, there's a chance he might make it back to the start-finish line. But with, I don't know how long is left on the clock. 50 seconds. It's going to be close. And he doesn't have probably that much fuel left in. But let's head over to Sparky, who is the car behind him, who is currently setting the pace. He's gone a tenth faster in the first sector, which doesn't sound like a lot, but on this grid, that is very close indeed, as everyone will be improving their lap times from 13th up.
Yeah, well, I mean, if he's able to get a 10th on every sector, he could be looking at jumping all the way up into P8 here, which would be a great help for him and his teammate in that Red Bull with Dustin.
I think El Puma might just make it, by the way. I think he might just make it to the line.
There could be a potential that the Red Bull could block him. As Sparky
gone purple in the middle sector, almost 2/10 up.
Someone else I'm going to have to point out as well, to take away from Sparky's light, is Danny Cove, the McLaren right above him, and currently in P12, set a purple sector 1. As El Puma doesn't make it to the timing line in time.
No, he pitted. He came to the pits. Sparky crosses the line. He only goes 12. He found 0.2 of a second, but it tells you how close the rest of this grid is. We got AlphaTauri sliding his way around the final corner, and he's abandoned his lap because he just lost it all in that final corner. It was Hero's teammate. He lost it all. Napadowski taking pole position. With
so
a
far
27.911. It's only provisional though. There's still a lot of people to complete their lap times.
Yeah, on board here with Danny. He's absolutely pushing this McLaren through that last sector, as we just saw, as Napadowski was able to get the provisional pole so far. But Danny set a purple sector 1. He set a PB sector 2. Oh my word!
It's only the front row. He's put it close.
Oh, that feels criminal.
Sanger to cross the line. He puts it on pole position with a 27.8. Is there anyone that could stop him? The AlphaTauri of Hero is down in the middle sector. Can he improve his lap time? Steven Fruha can't improve. Can Hero improve? No, he can't. Is there anyone behind?
We're going to have to look out for Dustin, but it's Dustin's lap time invalidated? No, it's not. Sorry, that was Steven Fruha. Yeah, look at Dustin here. He set a green sector 2. There's a little bit of potential for him to climb up the leaderboard, but I can't really be able to see.
He put it third.
What a good lap. Yeah, and there we go. I'm a bit lost for words, to be honest with you. That qualifying session came and went very quick. What a... I mean, you just say that top 5 separated by under 3/4 of a second.
There's a 10th between the top 8.
That is
5/10
scary.
between 13th down.
Now, yeah, I'm not sure what to make of it. I feel like we've got to take a real moment here to relax in the GTO Mega Chair. And,
yes.
Let our thoughts develop. So let's roll the ad, and we can talk about it later. There we go. What a good qualifying session. Thankfully, I've took the chain off, as you guys can probably see now.
I haven't taken my... I'm still imagining I'm in Vegas.
Yeah, this will be the quickest face cam we're ever going to get, because there's no formation lap in PSGL, and we're not going to miss the start.
We're not missing the start.
We're not missing the start this time.
I am doing my start this time. This is my moment, alright? I want my moment in the sun.
But I do have to ask, while the loading screen is still going on, for a quick prediction. Who's going to be the race winner today?
I don't think you can predict this. There is, as you said, less than a 10th between the top 5. But as the race starts, it is Sanger on pole from Napadowski. It's lights out. And we're underway here in PSGL F6. It's a good start from Sanger. It's an even better start from Napadowski, but he's falling back now. Dustin Vincent trying to go around the outside. Sanger with a perfect start there into turn 1. We've got a McLaren looking up the inside of Napadowski, and can Oscar King go all the way around the outside? He can't on this occasion, as everyone sort of keeping with things. Got an Alfa Romeo off the road, but Napadowski is in second, followed by Sanger, who's in first, and Oscar King was challenging off the start on those medium tyres. We've got someone round in the back. It's Stephen Fruha, who's fallen behind. He's got a tap in the rear. He's now properly been spun round, and he's down to 14th, as there is some wheel-to-wheel action towards the back between literally everyone, and that is quite a chaotic start. But Stephen Fruha down to 14th with 9 seconds as the rest of the pack. And we thought we'd keep it clean, but with so many cars going into that first corner, it was never going to be as clean as people would want it.
No, it was always destined to happen. Unfortunately, Fruha coming off for worst. Thankfully, he isn't on the hard tyre though, so there is a potential he could come away with a very cheeky pit stop nice and early on. But someone I do want to point out here, as we're just going to hop on board with them, is Nardi Perez in Aston Martin, going the complete opposite of everyone else, gaining 7 places purely because he started on that soft compound tyre. Now, I don't want to say it was all the tyre, because obviously a lot of it went into the driver's decision making. But we're going to have to start thinking about when this cut-off point is for the soft compound, because we know it's not necessarily the greatest round here, as we can see Hero not even putting up a fight there, knowing that his time will come if he ends up saving the battery a little bit more. He doesn't need to fight soft compound tyre. That's the end of that. As
Oscar King, sorry,
yeah.
Oscar King trying to battle with Dustin Vincent. Vincent's round, and Vincent, they tapped on the exit curb. Dustin Vincent resets the track, and Oscar King made his way through. It was one of those racing incidents where it just happens when you're wheel to wheel with another driver on a curb. And he is down to now P13 behind the rest of the fight. After such qualifying, Dustin Vincent is down and out at the moment, but not out of this race. There's so much that can still happen. But yeah, as you said, Nardi Perez is on a rampage here as he dives up the inside into turn 9. Can he get the move done into turn 10? They're properly wheel to wheel now. He doesn't have the grip that he would need. But yeah, as you said, these soft tyres will go off in the next few laps. He's got to make up all the positions he can and make up all the time he possibly can before he decides it's time for the hards, or maybe it's time for the mediums. I'm very interested to see what Nardi Perez does here at Bahrain.
Yeah, it's always good to have a little bit of variety in the strategies. Majority of the field have gone for the hard compound tyre, as the ladies and gentlemen on the stream can see from my display. But we do have to talk about this. El Puma once again making positions from the start and grabbing another 2 positions here. We might have our own one-lap maestro here, who does the Lance Troll, perhaps underqualifies himself a little bit in order to, you know, potentially get a couple overtakes sorted in the start, as Nardi in the background there is able to get past McLaren with the help of the ERS. Now DRS is also active, but of course they won't get it down this main straight, as Aaron Sanger leads them through this tight hairpin going into Sector 2. Now, these hard tyres, we can see the difference that the softs make for Nardi. But do you think we'll see as much of that tyre degradation and the tyre fall off that we saw in Interlagos around these streets? Because obviously, it's a hot track. It's in a desert. Like, yeah. Obviously, it's going to be a bit hot. We mentioned the dust in qualifying. All of this will take an effect on the tyres. Maybe the hards will take a couple more laps to slightly heat up and get there. But
Nardi Perez on another move here, sorry, just up the inside of Oscar King. Oscar, again, not needing to defend it. He's on the medium tyre. Oh, he's actually going to try and defend it. He's gone back up the inside, the switcheroo, as Nardi Perez tries to keep it around the down the inside, and he does so brilliantly. Just that extra grip of the soft tyre, and the thing as well, got to keep with Nardi, he's now in DRS range of Napadowski. Now, I got to say, Nardi is definitely the changer here. He's the disruptor in this race. Running in P3 on a set of soft tyres. Sanger is pulling away, but as soon as Nardi gets involved in this fight, the question I have with Sanger is, will you try and defend it? As here comes Danico on his teammate to go around the inside. They've tapped the back of Nardi Perez. Is Oscar King, as Danico tried to make the move. The Alpha Tauri now getting involved as well. And we've got a bit of barging and bumping this afternoon. Hopefully we won't see this all afternoon. But there goes Hero up the inside. lovely move past the McLaren driver. Can his teammate follow him through? And he can't, stays behind him for that. But yeah, to answer your question about tyre wear, I really don't know how to call this one. Is Puma is also getting involved down the inside. Goes Puma, late move, late overtake, pushes the AlphaTauri wide, and he's now into P8. Puma moving his way up the grid, and I can't take my eyes off this one. They are making a show here this afternoon.
Yeah, Davala.
Still in the DRS.
Yeah, Davala will not be happy about that move. Very, very late move there from El Puma. Thankfully, he was able just to catch the end of it. But we've got what appears to be a little bit of a DRS train forming from first all the way down to 12th. We're going to have to start keeping an eye on Oscar King as well. He needs to start making some more moves here on those medium compounders. Obviously, the difference isn't going to be as strong as what we can see with Nardi in the softs. But it'll definitely have to start happening soon. Maybe Danny starts playing a little bit more of that rear gunner role to help Oscar have that little bit more space when it comes to it. As all of them are going to use that slipstream and that DRS to save their battery coming down this main straight. Oscar had a little look there on Hero, but decided better of it as Hero is able to keep that 4th place, and the gap to the lead has shrunk by quite a bit.
Napadowski's in waiting here. I think he realises that Sanga really pushed those hards to get them warmed up. Obviously, the way the hard tyres work in this game is they are incredibly cold when you first put them on. They'll take a few laps to warm up. And what Sanga did quite cleverly, he put a proper heat cycle through them. So he just sent them around the track, set fastest lap after fastest lap to get some heat into them. But the thing that will do for Sanga is now it will use a lot of his rear grip up and front grip up. And Napadowski's realised this, and he's now just waiting for an opportunity to strike. The person behind him, though, has no problem with using his soft tyres up because he knows he's going to take them off in the next few laps, as the disruptor, Nardi Perez, is within 4/10 of the leaders here. I'm very interested to see who comes out on top here, because if Perez thinks, all right, this is my opportunity to battle with Napadowski and Sanga, even though they're not really my race because of soft tyres, are we going to see fireworks? And we obviously don't want to see fireworks in terms of crashes, but as Nardi Perez gets a 3-second time penalty, that one you can't really get rid of because he was super wide there. And Hero is also on the back. I think those softs are already starting to struggle here at Bahrain.
Yeah, perhaps took a little bit too much life out of him in Sector 1 as he ends up taking it that a little bit wide, and Hero is able to sneak past. Set a purple Sector 1, so the tyres still had a lot of grip there, and a PB Sector 2, but perhaps just pushing those tyres just a little bit too much, getting them a little too warm. And now obviously he's picked up the penalty. You'll see all sorts of mistakes start to creep in with psychology, as now he's ran that a little bit wide. He's even looking vulnerable to Oscar King. Perhaps this is one of the cycles that the soft tyre is going through now, where it will start to struggle. As the other hard tyre users, they're looking at about 15-20% tyre wear. The soft, medium tyre runner, Oscar and Stephen are going to be looking at about 20% to 25% tyre wear so far in this race. Well, they've still got a lot of grip left to go, but Nardi will be looking at the 30s and 40s potentially already, only on lap 6. But was able to get a good enough traction out of there to not be directly under fire from Oscar, but Oscar will definitely be looking to try and nab a place here. As well as Hero as well. Kept the distance nice and close to Napadowski. Could be a potential overtake there as well.
Yeah, Hero is definitely not looking to do the regular PSGL thing and sit back and watch these guys drive off to the distance. He wants some racing action, and so do we. So he's going to give it to us down this back straight. Is he going to dump the battery and going to have a go at Napadowski? Or is Napadowski going to have a go at Sanga? He's gaining. Can he dive down the inside? He thinks about it. He has a little look. He thinks he's gone for the move. Can Napadowski keep it around the outside? He can't. There's a crash towards the back. I think Nardi Perez has gone off. I imagine that's his soft tyres completely gone now. Can Napadowski have another go up into turn 4, up the inside? The AlphaTauri waits for his opportunity, and he's trying to go on the outside. There's no room there at all, and a two-way battle for the lead has turned into a three-way battle for the lead, and Napadowski is the one looking vulnerable.
It's not even over.
Oh, he's gone wide. Napadowski locks his tyre up, and I think he's gone wide and let Hero through.
Now, we're going to have to think there. Did he actually lock up, or was that a tactical exchange there to let Hero go through? Because Napadovsky, we saw down the main straight, was saving his battery up while Hero was deciding to burn it, and he's still deciding to just take it nice and easy on the battery. Napadovsky down that DRS straight, which realistically, it's the third DRS straight, but it's always been the second in my heart, to be honest with you guys.
Yeah.
But regardless, we could be ready to see this all over again, because Sanya's not looking the fastest out there. As Hero has a little squirm coming off of that corner, going down this long back straight. You're just waiting and waiting to be able to hit the brakes to get the turn in, to ride this outside curb as smooth as possible, to be able to get your foot down and get going. As Oscar King...
Up a 3-second time penalty. Here comes Hero, though, up the inside, straight past Sanga. There is no defence for a slipstream ERS overtake, and there is nothing Sanga could do. And the thing is, Hero will get a second dosage of DRS here, which will allow him to pull away more. Can Napadovsky fight back? Actually, sorry, no, Sanga got the DRS, but he is late on the brakes. He's tapped the rear. Napadovsky's tapped the rear of him, and there is a lot of bashing and barging going on this afternoon. No one at the moment at the front of the grid has ended in tragedy. Oh my god, what a chance for Sanga. Napadovsky thinks better of it. He's looking to go up the inside. This three-way fight has turned into a five-way fight as Puma's getting involved as well. Napadovsky, he's not going to try around the outside of turn 10.
Surely not!
No one goes around the outside of turn 10. No, he can't do it. He thought about it, and he thought too long.
I thought we were going to see the move of the season already. Oh my word, this battle's heating up more and more as Danny Coe is right on the back of him with El Puma, Davida, and the Williams of Nawiki all closing up here.
Rose caused chaos here.
Yeah.
Rose caused absolute chaos because he knows in his heart really that, you know, he's just having a bit of fun out there. He doesn't need to stick behind people. He wants racing, and he's giving us that racing here in Bahrain. Look how close this queue is. There is 7 or 8 cars separated by a tenth of a second. And who's going to have the most slipstream? Who's going to have a go?
It looks like it's Napadovsky, yeah.
Napadovsky up the inside. Hero is so slow going into turn 1. He somehow doesn't get hit. There's battles going on. Puma's up the inside of Danny. Can Napadovsky keep it around the outside? We saw a collision here earlier in the race. He doesn't collide. Hero is screaming in that cockpit.
He's still there.
Battling. Napadovsky won't give this up. He's trying to keep with Sanga. They're still wheel. Here in Bahrain, he won't back out of this corner. He surely has to now, and he does. Puma's got past as well. El Puma's into P4. Napadovsky stays in P3. The battles are nuts here in Bahrain. Oh, David gets a bit loose on the rear. Can we see the Williams up the inside of turn 9 into turn 10?
We can as well. Just at the bottom right of your screen there, they're neck and neck there, running out of that corner. Still side by side coming down the second DRS straight. Oh my word, what a little bit of racing we've ended up getting given tonight. As El Puma right now is all over the back of Napadovsky. And something I do have to mention is Sanga, Napadovsky and El Puma are the only drivers in this front pack who haven't received a single warning for track limits so far. Somehow. Oh my word, I feel like we've been took to the silver duel of the desert. Nico Rosberg, Lewis Hamilton. I was getting flashbacks there watching that go through. But Hero has been able to keep a 6/10 buffer, which will potentially see him safe. Potentially,
it's going to absolutely dissolve as we head down into turn 1. It's gone down to 0.3 of a second. Look how late on the brakes Sanga goes. We've got overtakes in the background as well. Sanga will get another dose of the DRS, but I think, as you said, Hero might have that 5/10 advantage that he needs. And I think, as I'm going to say, stuff is starting to calm down here as we're back into regular scheduled programming with some DRS trains and no one dumping their batteries. But my goodness me. Also, can I just say, Nadi Perez is still on a set of soft tyres. He has not pitted yet.
Yep, Nadi has absolutely committed to this, and someone else who might be committing to this is Dustin behind him, as we can see that train on the mini-map very close as we ride on board with Dustin for the
El Puma down the inside of
Toby.
Napadovsky into turn 10. He's made the move. He's pushed Napadovsky
Push him
wide.
a little wide there, though. That's a... Stewards are going to look at that one. Stewards are going to be looking at that one. Maybe he might have to end up giving him a place back. But, no. that could also see Danny being able to get a great run in the McLaren, who's literally tenths behind these guys. As Hero is able to keep that 6/10 buffer, he's able to burn enough battery in that middle sector to be able to keep this sort of 6/10 buffer, knowing that he's going to be safe going into turn 1 as long as he doesn't defend a bit of thin air, and as long as he stays on the racing line and worries about the exit he can get, he'll be safe.
I think Napodowski is going to be a bit upset with that move from El Puma. Not to say it was malicious, but it was late and he did push him wide. And Danico is right on the back here of Napodowski as well. And is Napodowski going to lose P4? I think with that DRS he's going to be just fine. But El Puma on a rampage here at the moment. He's right behind Sanga now as well. We're going to see him go for P2 in this race on lap 11? Surely not. He's too far back on this occasion. But I wouldn't be surprised if we see El Puma take second place in the next lap or so.
Yeah, just look at the amount of grip, how much he's able to catch up on the corner exit there, being able to get the traction. That is absolutely insane from El Puma, being able to close up that much to Sanga. Coming into the traction zone, let alone leaving the traction zone. Sanga seems to be really struggling. Obviously, you mentioned that he blitzed his tyres in order to get him back up to temperature as fast as possible, but that clearly hasn't done his rears much good. He seems to be struggling an awful lot out of these traction zones, potentially even using his battery to keep up with Hero in front, while El Puma seems to be able to cruise there in third place and gain on Sanga.
Yeah. Would you say that? He almost loses the rear end coming out turn 11. The commentators curse trying his best to end his race there, but El Puma keeps it in a straight line. Napodowski didn't close in as much as you'd expect, because obviously sliding in this game doesn't really lose you as much time as you'd think. Right, El Puma now, is he going to have an opportunity to overtake Sanga here? There's 6/10 gap between the two leading cars. Is El Puma going to have a run on Sanga into turn 1? He's too far back on this occasion. He's not going to have the opportunity to make the move. He does brake very, very late though. But once again, look, you can see how much more traction he gets out of these corners. You can see if you ride on board with Sanga.
That is insane.
He just has such a problem with the rear end in terms of grip. Oh, he pulls out to the right-hand side just to let him know he's there. Wasn't going for a move, but yeah, look at the
literally
grip that
pushing him. Literally pushing him there through turn 4. Surely Sanga's got to realise that in order to keep this race going and a chance to be able to win, he's going to have to let El Puma pass sometime to try and chase down Hero and make Hero burn up their tyres. Maybe it might be good for Sanga just to allow a little bit of breathing space, but I'm sure the inner racer in Sanga will just want to be able to push. As we have had a correction, as someone ends up getting tapped for, I believe that was Dabbler. Yeah,
he's gone round. I think the Williams tried to go for a move. Oh, Napodowski's locked up. Napodowski's completely locked up, and so is the McLaren. I don't know what's happened there, but there's been an accident between. Oh no, it hasn't. It's just a desync. Don't worry about me. I went straight on for a second. I do apologise. But El Puma is now in. They're still battling for third place. It says Napodowski is 2 seconds down on his delta, but he's not. He's still there in P4. Just my internet decided to have a small issue. But look at how much Sanga's struggling there. This is going to be a run here for El Puma, surely. He's got to surely have a chance, but I think Sanga's dumping his battery to keep in front of him.
Yeah, Puma has decided not to use any battery. Neither of them have decided to use battery. Both of them are conserving it. But thankfully, we have had a message in the chat telling us how to pronounce Hero's name. It's Herrero.
Herrero, that makes more sense, yeah. Herrero.
I feel stupid now.
Yeah, it does make more sense now. It's the dyslexia. Don't make fun. But El Puma with look at the insane grip he had out of that corner.
He's just pushing him through. Questions surely have to start being asked about Puma's tyres and what he's put on him, because that is super glue level traction at lap 13. That is absolutely insane from Puma.
Sanga is just
squirming
everywhere.
Yeah, he had a little squirm coming out there. And he's going to have to be very careful on the traction, while we can already see Puma. He's already stomping down the throttle before Sanga's even applied full throttle. That is absolutely insane. This Alfa Romeo is on... I'll tell you what it reminds me of, and not just because of the livery. It reminds me of Porsche around here at the start of the season. This Alfa Romeo looks to be on absolute rails for traction he's able to get. This tyre management, it's Checo Perez-esque. It is absolutely phenomenal.
He's whispering to those tyres, give me more grip. That's exactly what they're giving him. And Sanga, you can see, is dropping out of, well, he's not out of DRS yet, but he's having to use a lot of battery to keep within DRS. And Sanga, El Puma just looked good. And Sanga pulls into the pits, and El Puma follows him. He is not waiting for an opportunity. He was straight in there. And I wonder, did Sanga catch snapping? Now it's down to the pit crew. Sanga puts on a set of medium tyres. A good stop from Ferrari. Here comes the Alfa Romeo.
On the mediums.
Sanga will stay in front. Puma is onto mediums as well. And one of the Mercedes pitting, and also Nadi Perez finally getting rid of those pesky mediums, those pesky soft tyres, putting on a set of mediums. As Oscar King goes through, and so does Stephen Fruha.
But
and he sets the fastest lap of the race.
Yeah, Fruha came in a couple laps earlier to sit on those hard tyres. We know Fruha is a serious competitor in this championship. Unfortunate with the tag around, which is the reason why he finds himself far down in the grid. But I am riding on board at the minute with Danny Coe, who is in the DRS of Napadovsky. And Napadovsky's also almost caught back up to Herrero's DRS as well. These drivers are going to have to push and deploy everything in order to not get undercut by Sanya, El Puma, and perhaps even the likes of Lundell and Oscar King. These drivers, this is going to be their make and break. Potentially looking for Danny Coe here to rejoin in P10, which would see him just ahead of Oscar King, while Napadovsky would be roughly in that same position, but we might have seen Herrero lose the lead here to not only Sanya, but El Puma, as he decides to continue on for another lap.
All of them's continued on. Top three are staying on, and I wonder now, they've decided to stay on. These guys might be on the soft tyre train. They might be thinking of a soft set of softs at the end of the Grand Prix as Napadovsky slides it around turn one. And Danny Coe just sitting behind him there.
Sanya ran wide.
Fancy an overtake.
Sanya ran wide, coming out of the last corner, giving El Puma a fantastic run. Use of DRS here, pulls to the inside for turn one.
Nothing you can do. Literally nothing you can do with a touch of DRS and a little sipple of ERS. There's nothing you can do to deny it. But Sanga is going to have the exact same chance here, but decides to stick behind him. He knows that if they start squabbling, that this undercut attempt for them both is not going to work. They've got to work together here to keep their undercut alive, or it will be the end of their chances to win the race. I think El Puma, in my opinion, is in the best opportunity here, as Sanga's literally pushing him through the corners. I mean, physically, he's pushing him through the corners here. As Sanga maybe realised, it's a big hit in the rear. I think Sanga's realised that he might be faster, and this might have been a huge mistake. Yeah,
fortunately, no damage there whatsoever, and I would agree with you that El Puma is in a great position. If he didn't already have 2 track warnings, compared to Sanga only having the 1. Sanga has that little bit of leeway, that little bit more he can push in one of these laps to ensure this gap is nice and close. It's that literally, it looks like they've tied a rope to the car, to be honest, doesn't it? This is an
Danny Coe's in the pits.
Danny Coe. Where's he going to come out?
I think he's going to come out behind this too.
Yeah, he should do. He should do. Because these two have been fighting a little bit, but not enough, in my opinion, for Danny Coe, as he is still moving in the pit lane. And El Puma
with the fast lap of the race. Here comes Sanga, though, up the inside. And El Puma decides he's not going to fight that one back. This is what we like to call DRS chicken in Formula 1. One person sits behind for 1 lap, and then they swap round. Nadi Perez, fastest lap of the race so far, sitting on quite a few time penalties, though. Once again, El Puma just pulling to the right-hand side saying, hey, you know, I'm still here, right? And he's like, yeah, no, I know you're still there. So they are currently not wheel to wheel. They're currently basically front to rear, just following each other through. In front there, you can see that is
Sanga's teammate.
And very interesting, has Patrick made his pit stop yet? I don't believe he has.
No, he's on 15-lap old hard tyres, and they have caught him by half a second.
Are we going to see
through that sector alone
play here?
We could potentially. We know the Ferraris were very, very strong, but it looks like Patrick has decided to take the sportsmanship route and let El Puma through. Yes, both of these drivers working together. Perhaps it would have been a detriment to Sanga in order to hold up El Puma, because both of them have been using this DRS chicken and the toe and the DRS with one another.
Our leader is in the pits.
Oh dear, this is where it's going to come crunch time. Herrero in the pits. They might have been able to work together here and use the DRS to their advantage to be able to jump Herrero.
He's only just made his pit stop.
Herrero might
down the pits now.
He might be behind Oscar King.
He might be, you know. I think the undercut has been superb as El Puma once again swapped places with Sanga. And where is he going to come out? Danico will have an opportunity if he takes it to try and overtake him. So to take the Alpha Tower here, our former race leader.
Yeah.
He is. He's dumping the battery. This is the chance.
This is the
Could Danico
opportunity.
get past him?
Yeah, Danico.
Dive up the inside.
Warm the tyres.
He does dive up the inside. Oh, but the switcheroo. Will he get back?
It's not on. He's not on. He's going to squeeze him out. Surely.
He's surely the bang wheels, and they somehow. He
The
made that mistake. Oh, but Danico up the inside. That was too late. And that was where it all goes wrong for Danico. He was never going to make that move back up the inside. That was late, and it was unfortunately probably a race-ending move for him there. As we have the Mercedes on the back.
Yeah.
Now as well.
ML is right in this battle here, as well as the Williams behind, both of them being able to follow. Both of them will have battery to use. It'll be all about whether they can get the pass done before these tyres end up getting warmed up properly for Herrero. And we could see Herrero end up going out into the distance. But
Napatossy's in the pits.
yeah, we will have to point out as well, there is quite a large gap which has formed between Herrero and Sanga. 5 seconds was pulled out in
I think Napatossy's
3
not going
laps.
to lead the race.
No.
Napatossy is nowhere near these two right now. El Puma and Sanga are running their own little race here. And the question is, where is Napatossy going to come out in contention with Herrero? And he's in front. He's miles in front. Napatossy down to 9th. He's behind the McLaren pair. He's behind the Williams. He's behind the Mercedes. And now he's got one hell of a job on his hands to try and take back a race victory that was kind of under control. He was with Sanga and he was with the other drivers. And now he may have the freshest tyres, but he's got some overtaking to do. As Sanga is still pressurising Puma, which is basically, this is the net race lead right now. Vincent hasn't pitted yet. El Puma is net race leader with 2 penalties. Sanga also with 1 penalty. But it's really anyone's race still. As, wow, Puma taking up all of the track there on the right-hand side. He's bought the track. He's using all of the track.
Yeah, we could see how Puma's been able to accumulate these warnings by using the track as aggressively as he is. Sanga is literally pushing him right through, but they're not the only ones who are so close on track. We've got Danico and the Williams ahead of him, literally pushing each other up the hill, trying to close this gap to the lead too. I mean, this is the racing you want to see, isn't it? You come home from work on a Thursday? It is a Thursday today. It is a Thursday. I got really confused. It's a jet lag from the plane, I promise.
Yes,
on a Thursday, you want to get home from work, you want to be able to put your feet up. Grand Prix is never going to be on a Thursday. Come in, PSGL, F6, you've got the entertainment, you've got the good quality racing, and we've also had a change for the provisional lead with a switchback.
Sanga was sideways through turn 2, and he's still going here as El Puma has the DRS and he's back past him. Sanga was late on the brakes, too late, locks up the rears and almost spins it, keeps it in a straight line for now. Something else that this battle is doing, obviously these two are on the oldest set of tyres in this leading pack. They pitted early, did the undercut and it worked fantastically well, but they've got a hungry set of drivers behind them who is on fresh set of tyres and a fresh opportunity to take the race lead away from them. Herrero in the best position to do that, as Dustin Vincent still hasn't made his pit stop yet. And it's going to be causing problems between these two. That's what I really want to know. Is he really again the disruptor in this race? It was Perez on the first couple of laps, and now it might be Dustin Vincent.
Yeah, he's still got these guys behind him, but I don't picture he will fight them too much. He is running his own race here. Very similar to what Stephen Frufar and Oscar King have decided to do, of just being able to go on their own strategy, not care about what the rest of the grid's doing, and just run their own race to the best of their abilities. But this will hold up El Puma and Sanga just a little bit, as the gap has closed from the 2 laps since Herrero's been behind him by almost 2 seconds, and that is alarming because of his fighting.
I thought Dustin Vincent was going to pull into the pits there. He didn't. He decided to stay out, but just move out of the way of the drivers. Sanger didn't get the slipstream effect. I'm sure he was looking for. Again, he locks up the rears. This is so important for this race now. If he keeps doing that every lap, those tyres will be dead by the end of the race, and that will allow everyone behind to catch up. This is so important now for Sanger and El Puma that they need to preserve their tyres. They're going to want to battle every single lap of this race, but for Sanger's championship, for the Ferrari championship, it's important that he just scores points this afternoon. If that's P1, if that's P2, if that's P3, he has to score points because of what happened in Interlagos.
Yeah, just to give you a quick rough idea from Herrero to Lundell. Herrero's tyres will be roughly about 11 to 12% better over the 3 laps, which come the end of a race in 9 laps time. That'll be absolutely critical for Herrero to be able to try and close this gap up even further as it comes to under 3 seconds now. And that's without these two in the lead fighting. Dustin moved across very nicely for him, allowing them to run their race as he runs his. And I mentioned it earlier.
That changes everything.
Yes.
That absolutely changes everything. El Puma picks up 3-second time penalty for track limits. He was pushing the track all afternoon, and he's just pushed his luck once too many, and he's now taken what was Sanger doing there? He was very over to the right as we came across the start-finish line. Was he getting slipstream off of the... Well, he wasn't getting slipstream off anyone, unless Puma was driving to the right-hand side. I didn't see what happened there.
No.
Oh, El Puma's locked up the rears again, so it's Sanger. The rear lockups are insane as the Williams makes his way past the Mercedes there, and Napadowski past Oscar King. He's still in this race, Napadowski, but he's a long way from nowhere at the moment. From the race leaders. Dustin Vincent, just want to mention, still out here on a set of hard tyres. I wonder if he's going softs for the end of the race, going for a fastest lap attempt.
Potentially, but in order to get the point, he still needs to be in the top 10, which, of course, might be a little bit of a challenge, especially considering he's looking very likely from how much the pack has closed up that he'll be coming out in, you know, the P13s, that rough area, all the way down there, so he'll still have a bit of moves to get going in order to be able to get that fastest lap point, but regardless of that, he would still end up taking it off someone if he does set the fastest lap, as Patrick in the Ferrari ends up running it a little wide, picking himself up a penalty there, unfortunately. As we're going to join back to the lead 2 here. Sanger, El Puma, are you ready for round 21 of the slipstream first? Because it's happening.
Past as well, just into P6. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
But Sanger, this is Sanger's race to lose now. All he has to do now is keep within 3 seconds of Puma. He doesn't need to overtake him to lead the race. The battle he has is behind him. Herrero is closing in rapidly, and all Sanger needs to do is keep him behind for the next 20 for the next 6 laps. How hard can it be? As Napadowski, the Williams has gone round, I believe. He's down to 8 as Napadowski is about to make his way up into 5th. Can he dive up the inside here? Don't count out Napadowski. He is still in for a chance of at least a podium finish here. It is net P4 at the moment, as Herrero and Napadowski will be there with the leaders very shortly. Puma could completely drop off the podium here.
Yeah, Herrero is in the DRS range on those 3-lap fresher tyres, which is, as we said before, the equivalent to 11% tyre wear. So we could be looking at the cars in front starting to get a little bit more slide. If you've played F1 23 at home, you'll know that 10% is not a minute amount. It's not as good as it sounds. The tyres, basically their limit is 75%. So if you extrapolate everything slightly more, we could be looking at, you know, perhaps a couple tenths per second lap quicker for Herrero coming up to this pack here. But El Puma's going to have to start backing Sanger up and hoping that these two absolutely have a ding-dong scrap of a battle in order for him to be able to find some time. As, did I believe one of them snatched a break there going into the last corner?
Yeah, it was. Sorry, that took my breath away how late Herrero was on the brakes there. And we see the Williams drive pick up 3 seconds as Napadowski makes his way into 4th. We have an overtake. Oh my god!
Oh!
Herrero was so late on the brakes. What was that attempt of an overtake? He tried up the inside, took out every brake marker on his way past, and he's now trying to get past Sanga. I think Sanga's in shock from that overtake attempt.
Yeah,
Herrero go around the outside. He's not going to have
No.
enough grip there, and he's still in third. What was that attempt at an overtake? That's crazy.
Herrero went absolutely wild there. Kept on the racing line, but Herrero wanted the outside line and decided to try and ride the curb and be able to brake just on that tarmac little strip on the edge with the paint. Which obviously it hampered his braking performance slightly more than he anticipated. Perhaps maybe he missed a little bit of the paint and ended up picking up a bit of a dust, which caused him to look like he missed the brakes entirely. But he did hit that braking point spot on.
He did.
And Sanya will now know that Herrero is looking for an overtake here, and he is looking anywhere for it. There's an opportunity down at turn 1. Sanya's going to have to step up his defensive game a little more. Might have to start moving. Just a little shimmy, maybe on the straight. Just a little fake, just to try and get Herrero to go down to the inside so he can get the inside and get the better run for turn 2 going down the straight. But here we go again. Herrero, 4/10 of a second.
Napadowski will be very happy to see these three battling in front. He knows that there's still a chance for him to finish on the podium here. As here comes Herrero once again. Luckily for Sanga, he's got his DRS of the car in front. But look how late Herrero is on the brakes into turn 1. Once again, you could see Sanga struggling with that rear end of the car. He's been struggling all weekend with it. And all of afternoon, he's not really had the grip he's needed in that car. Can Herrero find a way through? He won't have the advantage for too long. As you can see just in front, I don't know if you can see, we're on board with Herrero at the moment, but you can see El Puma's light flashing there. That's not a braking light, that is the energy recharging system, which means that El Puma is currently not using any of his ERS, and he doesn't have any left.
Yeah.
He's run out of ERS, which is again huge for this race, because he is clearly trying to pull away from these two battling to make sure that his 3-second time penalty doesn't affect anyone. Maybe trying to pull away from Napadowski, but it's not working at the moment, especially with 0 ERS and everyone else running high ERS.
Yeah, everyone seems to be around that midpoint of around that 50% mark. Everyone's saving it for the last couple laps to deploy and dump it properly to try and have the best run possible for to try and beat Sanya here for the, well, presumed race win if El Puma doesn't get it removed, which could potentially be a possibility, because we know the track limits in this game aren't always the best, hence the reason why we didn't end up going to Vegas. But Sanya run wide.
He ran very, very wide through that first corner. It's going to allow Herrero a real opportunity for an overtake here. The double slipstream effect. Look how slow Puma is with that ERS down the inside. Goes Herrero down the inside. Goes Sanga on Puma. Puma, clearly you can see how much ERS affects your straight line speed if you don't have any.
Herrero's still here.
Slipstream is. And here's Herrero again. Puma once again slow through that corner. He's trying to go around his outside.
Oh, it's so close.
It's just within touching distance, this race victory. But you can see how much El Puma struggles down those back straights. Having no ERS is terrible in this game because of how powerful slipstream is, and locking up your brakes are even worse as Sanga is right on the back here. Surely we're going to see a move into turn 10. It's going to be risky, and he doesn't go for it. He wants that DRS. He knows how weak and how vulnerable Puma is now down the back straight. Are we going to see a move into turn 11? I think we are.
Surely not. They'll lose too much time. Herrero's going to be able to go down for it.
Oh! He backs out. He backs out.
Napadowski's licking his fingers here because this looks finger licking good for him. Excuse that, but he's looking for it. Almost within a second now. As soon as Napadowski gets that DRS, these three drivers, they've burnt their battery. It's not looking too grand for him. Napadowski's running his own race.
He's running his own race. He hasn't got any ERS though. He's got no ERS left at all. And neither does El Puma. You can see El Puma saying, you know what, it's time to go for a bit of a weave. And he's going for it now, but he won't be able to do anything if that slipstream effect is as powerful as I think it is. Can Sanga think down the inside? He doesn't go for it on this occasion. Neither does Herrero. They are waiting and praying for an opportunity, but every time they wait, Napadowski closes in. Here comes Herrero now. Can he dive up the inside here into turn 3? Sanga backs out of the corner. Herrero up the inside.
Oh.
Can he finally do it?
No.
It's the rear end though, and he can't do it again. And he stays behind him for another lap. This is so frustrating. for the AlphaTauri man. Oh, Sanger loses it on the exit of that corner, but defends it beautifully on the inside. Napadovsky's in DRS.
This is it. Napadovsky's here. We have the 4-way fight for the lead, which could very quickly turn into 5-way if Danny's able to catch up.
Herrera on the inside.
Oh!
Into turn 10. He's surely too late on the brakes. They touch wheels. Herrera's trying to get past here. That was a brilliant move. They're both dumping their battery. They're both too afraid to wait for the low back straight. Oh, there's a touch. They're still in a straight line. Napadovsky's here. He wants that podium place. There's still a chance for the win.
Sanya ended up having a little tap there, and it kind of caused his car to get a little bit off balance. Ended up having to correct the oversteer, which definitely did not help his tyre life, as Herrera's battery is in the single digits as well. They have used almost everything, and there is still 4 laps to go around this Sakir International circuit. Napadovsky is close, is part of this fight, and will be looking to get this move done down into turn 1.
Alpuma is just hoping that these three carry on their fight. He's thinking, oh, keep going, lads. I'm pulling away here. But he's not putting away enough. The slipstream effect is keeping Alpuma within closing distance of Sanger. He knows that this is the opportunity to win the Grand Prix here in Bahrain. Can Napadovsky possibly, after what was a strategy that seemed to put him on the back foot, staying out so long, he's now involved in this fight. He knew that these drivers would not be able to stop themselves from fighting each other. And there is now a real opportunity to win the Bahrain, the Sakir International Grand Prix. And goodness gracious me, we have seen some excellent battling here. I'm going to ask you for your drive of the day very shortly, but there's still a 4-way fight for P1. And Danny Coe, just want to say, he's pretty close as well. It's going to be a 5-way fight very shortly.
Yeah, no, it's way too close to call in my opinion. But oh my word, have we seen some fantastic racing and some fantastic driving today. But I don't want to even give my driver of the day at the minute, because I feel like this could all change. Honestly, this fight for this battle is so close up at the front. Herrera obviously been very unfortunate, but Sanya's been pushing his tyres so hard. It's all in for times are crumbling down here as well. We could be looking for another round, another ding-dong battle here going down into this first sector.
And I think Herrera is close. So is the Ferrari to Alpuma. We're on the penultimate lap of the Bahrain GP. And oh, it's late on the brakes. It's so late from Herrera. He tried to go down the inside and he didn't make it, but he put the Ferrari under so much pressure.
He'll have to run.
And now
Surely.
he has a good run. He has a chance once again round the outside. He's not pulled this off yet. Can he pull it off with a lap to go? Great defending from Sanger to keep him behind. This is a absolute book in defensive masterclass here from the Ferrari man. He has frustrated that AlphaTauri so much, and he's gone for moves in places you wouldn't even expect to do here at Bahrain. But everything has been shut down from Sanger. He wants this race win. He feels like he deserves it. And
yeah.
Now he has an opportunity with, well, a lap and a bit to go.
Yeah, we saw it in Interlagos as well. This isn't a one-off for Sanger. Absolute masterclass defensive drive so far. With 2 laps remaining to go, Herrera is throwing everything he has got at this Ferrari. Puma has thrown everything he's got to try and get away from this scrap, and Napadovsky sitting pretty in the back, considering that he ended up being a little unfortunate on the strategy, perhaps calling it a little bit wrong. Probably grateful that he's going to end up receiving a podium here. As Sanya has a little look down the inside. He's probably going to try and make a move on Puma to keep that gap here coming onto the last lap. He'll be looking for it, for sure.
This is the opportunity he's been looking for, and finally he's closed up enough on the marbles, but it doesn't matter. He's up the inside of Alpuma. Puma's down into second place, and that, oh, he's got
Puma's gone for it!
Up the inside, they clash wheels, and that was
oh!
He's round the outside. No, he's
not!
No! He's spun round. Napadovsky's made it all the way through. They've back wheeled.
Napadovsky's side by side here.
Oh, he's back down the corner. It's yellow flags. He can't overtake. He had to back out. Danny Coe's in third. It's still anyone's race here.
Don't forget, Napadovsky's tyres here are so much fresher. It is not over. We can see very well a move coming down into turn 10 here off his DRS straight. Sizing him up here, Napadovsky trying to predict it properly, but Danny Coe as well is looking very, very eager to get a move. But oh my god, the stewards will have a lot of investigating to do after the end of this race with the collision there.
He was so late on the brakes. He went for that move. He didn't want to give up his P1. He felt like his time penalty may not have been deserved. Can Napadowski find a way past? He was so struggling on his tyres. Sanga is so struggling on his tyres. He's using all his battery now. This is the opportunity he needs. Sanga has no battery left, neither does Napadowski. He's surely not going to have one last run into the final
He
corner.
will. He absolutely will.
Side. He has a chance. There's always a chance in motorsport. When he go around the outside, he thinks about it. They bag wheels. Danny Coe looks behind. Can Danny Coe get Napadowski on the line? They're going to go wheel to wheel towards the line, and I don't think he's got enough. Sanga wins. Napadowski's in second, and Danny Coe finishes in third. Puma comes home in fourth, but will fall down to fifth as Herrero finishes in fourth. Oh my goodness me, what have we just seen at the Bahrain GP? Look at Danny Coe and Napadowski, 90,000 separating the third and second. And Napadowski tried everything on the final corner, but there wasn't anything going there. Dustin Vincent is going to set the fastest lap of the race, but he won't get a point for it, but at least he'll get the recognition. Oh, what was that final lap here in Brazil? In Bahrain? I'm gone.
I can't even. Sanya with an absolutely incredible result for the Ferrari drivers, which were so prominent around Interlagos. And again, unfortunately, his teammate wasn't here. They ended up having to get a reserve, but he's able to keep it going and continue going. Oh my word! What a absolute insane race we've just had. F6, you deliver every single week. Keep this going. Oh my word!
He has the Swiss flag. And there you go, there's our podium finishes of the Bahrain GP. And that is your winner. A defensive masterclass. And it almost all came to an end on the final lap of the Grand Prix. As he got past Puma. Puma was not willing to give it up. And he dived back up the inside, crashing into each other. Then I believe Herrero thought he had the win. He got spun round. And I think Napadowski may have thought he had the win afterwards. But that is your final finishing order of the Bahrain GP. Sanga wins from the front row. Napadowski finishes in second, followed by Danny Coe, who didn't think he was getting a podium until the final lap of the race. Herrero finishes in fourth. Puma, with his time penalty, finishes in fifth, but there might be investigations on him after the session. David finishes in sixth place in the AlphaTauri. Emil finishes in seventh in the Mercedes. The Williams driver finishes in eighth. Sparky finishes in ninth. And Stephen Fruhart, after spinning at the opening laps of the race, he finishes in 10th place. And that is our Bahrain GP over and done with. We'll show you another GT Omega ad in a few minutes. And then maybe we'll see if we can get some drivers in for an interview. We'll see if people are still around and fancy an interview here.
That was phenomenal. What a race. My driver of the day has to go to Nadi Perez. Being able to come in as, you know, this P14 to potentially what could have been P1 if he didn't end up losing the rear, unfortunately going down into Turn 1. Hopefully we'll be able to find out a little bit more about that in the interviews. But I'm going to chuck it to the ad, because one thing is certain. If I want to watch great sim racing like that, I want to do it in a GT Omega chair. Oh my word, we are back. What a race that was.
What a race. That was insane.
Yeah, I'm in shock. That was fantastic. That was brilliant. All the drivers. Oh, that was mind-blowing. I can't believe we just witnessed that. That was
hang on.
absolutely incredible.
It was explosive.
Alright, okay, you put sunglasses on, that ruins it.
That was great.
That was great. The race was great, everything. But we will have to consider that incident at the end there. We'll probably have a looking into the stewards.
Yes.
Obviously, unfortunately, if you guys didn't see it, on the driver standings, we did end up having one of the drivers from last week, Lima, who was also in Mercedes, banned for the move done before. The punishments were dished out. The stewards deemed it fair that it would get banned. So, they came down with the ban hammer, sorted them out nice and proper. But fingers crossed, nothing that drastic happens this week. But what a great race, and what an ending, honestly.
Yeah, what an ending. I'm sure stewards will find exactly the culprits for that move and who was at right, who was at fault, who was not. But, things happen in motorsport, but it gives us more excitement to allow you guys who are watching enjoy. And hopefully you enjoyed that race, because we certainly did.
Yeah.
It wasn't Vegas, but we definitely had some Vegas-style action. It had a good middle, it had a good end, and the start was all right.
Yeah, no. Obviously, we had the Aston Martin on a tear on those soft tyres.
Yeah.
We might start seeing stuff like this a little more each week, with drivers just trying to see if those soft tyres are able to make the most of. Obviously, next week we'll have Silverstone, where high downforce... The Silverstone Grand Prix? Do you mean the British Grand Prix?
Grand Prix. Or
yes.
Known as the British Grand Prix.
Yes. High downforce.
We'll get the flights right this time.
I hope so. It's not even a flight, it's a walk.
Yeah, it's just over there.
Yeah, it's literally out my window.
No, we're in Bahrain. Hang on, no. I know
No. It's out my window across an ocean.
Yeah.
Past France, a little bit more that way. But yeah,
Yep.
no. Silverstone, high downforce, high grip. Similar to Interlagos in that sense.
Yeah, very different to Bahrain again. But the thing is that we obviously did see in Bahrain, we might see in Silverstone, changeable conditions.
Yeah.
That is
Great
what the British
Britain.
Grand Prix is known for.
It is Great Britain. Do we have any drivers potentially for an interview, Alex?
I'm not entirely sure. I will just ask, because it wasn't my thing to ask.
No worries. Well, while Alex is doing that, let me take you through the driver standings that we had before the start of the race, so we can have a quick look to see how things may have changed. Obviously, Stephen Fruthar ended up having that horrible spin towards the end, which caused him to lose quite a few positions, was able to come and recover up to a very modest position, but not necessarily great. But the Ferrari team surely will be happy with that. Sanya potentially going to be looking at closing that gap up to Napadovsky at the top. As we move over to the constructors, the Ferrari team, which were very, very unfortunate last week, with Adam ended up spinning in the Interlagos circuit. Not getting as many points as they necessarily deserved from the racing they did, but it was a great showing again this week by Aaron. But perhaps Adam next week out at Silverstone will be able to create that difference and be able to really blow stuff out of the water. While we've got the likes of El Puma as well, who probably unmentioned credit to El Puma for being able to gain on that opening lap and be able to continue pushing as good as possible. All the way right up until the end with a very optimistic move down the inside, which I can guarantee is going to be looked at through a very critical lens by the stewards.
If I take it from opinion of a racing driver, if I'm in that situation and I know that, so I'm running on a 3-second time penalty, the driver in front's just taking the lead, and I know I'm going to drop back anyway, I think as much as, the racer in you wants to dive up the inside, try and take that position back ahead of the guy you've been racing all race. But I think at that point, just got to stick behind. You never know what's going to happen. He might catch a tie, he might spin, he might whatever. But I think in terms of what I would do, I probably would have stuck behind in that situation, because the race is over at that point. You're on a last lap. You're on 3 seconds. There's not really a lot you can do. He might pick up a 3-second time penalty, and you might have made the mistake not diving up the inside. But it's racing at the end of the day. I'm sure it'll get sorted out, as we've said. But apart from that incident, El Puma, I think, proved that he is quite the overtaker. Very aggressive on his overtakes.
Yeah.
But I don't think, personally, apart from the last one, which maybe it's up to opinion, I think he did fantastically well. Yeah,
all the drivers did really well this weekend out in Bahrain. But no, Silverstone, a different challenge, a different level. Hopefully, we'll be able to see a little shake-up of a grid, potentially, for Silverstone, being such a different circuit compared to the two we've previously gone for. Because, as mentioned, it is high downforce like Interlagos, but you do need that high top speed.
Hopefully a full grid as well.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll get back up to 20 drivers. Obviously, and it's getting towards summertime, so a lot of people are going on holiday. A lot of people also didn't fancy racing Vegas, but turns out we're not there.
Yeah.
So, you know. Also, I'd like to thank everyone who's watched the stream as well, because obviously I know last week we had a few technical problems and everything, but we were getting used to it. So hopefully everyone's enjoyed the stream today.
Yeah. And hopefully a little shenanigans, a little bit of our personalities. Yeah. Just here to try and entertain you when the racing isn't on, because we know when the racing's on, spotlight is on all the drivers, because the racing, I have to say, is phenomenal.
Yes, it's one of the best racing series I've commentated on, definitely. Like, in terms of just the gaps between everyone, like your gap, in qualifying you've got a gap of 0.6 between 13 drivers.
It is insane.
And then a gap of less than a tenth between 5 drivers. I don't see how you can improve that. And obviously in the racing as well, we went from 2 cars battling for the lead to 3 to 4 to 5 to 6 to 7 cars battling for the lead at one point or another. And at the end of that race, obviously, I know the El Puma dive, I'm sure, will be remembered for a long time. But, you know, even without that dive bomb, you've got 4 drivers behind them who could still all go and win that race.
Yeah, that's.
I think it proves how good this series is. Even if it's F6, it doesn't matter. We have some of the best drivers in the world driving their hearts out for you guys to watch and for us to watch as well. Yeah,
it's a pleasure as always to commentate. But it has come to the unfortunate time where we will have to say goodbye to you guys and the Bahrain International Circuit.
Yep. You got the. Did you book the flights back home?
No, they were to.
We haven't got return flights, have we?
No.
Because they were to Vegas, weren't they?
Yep. So
we're stuck here now.
Yep, we're stuck in Bahrain.
We'll have to get a train back.
I don't want to wait for 36 hours.
It's a long train.
Oh.
It's a night train. It's right. I'll book it on the cheap. It's fine.
I'm not sure I trust you with this.
I'm sure I got it wrong last time. I won't get it wrong again. I promise.
Okay, right. If it does, I'm putting Connor on you. But
yeah,
hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll make it back to Britain in time for the Silverstone, which will be at 8 p.m. next week on the Thursday. You know where we are. Don't go running away. It'll be good fun. It'll be a good watch, and I'll keep an eye out because El Puma seems to be on an absolute tear at the start of these races. But final thoughts.
Once again, it's always a pleasure commentating with you, Josh.
Thank you.
And it's a pleasure doing PSGL. We both really enjoyed doing it, and we hope everyone's enjoyed our little antics during the race as well. Just giving you guys a bit more enjoyment during the null time when we don't have racing. But the racing we've seen has been absolutely spectacular, and I hope that obviously one of my loves is commentating, and I hope that we can express our love for racing and commentating onto you guys watching, and I hope that's really made you even enjoy the race even more, basically. Yeah,
exactly what Alex said. Thank you again, Alex, for joining me. Thank you for being the big shouty man for all the entertainment. Every booth needs a big shouty man and a big wordy man. Unfortunately, I don't fit in any of those categories, but regardless of which, it has been brilliant. And
actually, before we go,
there
is one fact about Bahrain that we haven't told everyone.
Is this the fact?
This is the fact that I think everyone should listen to, because
this is really important. It is critical.
Hugely important.
It's in bold in the notes.
Yep. Tell everyone what the fact is.
In 2007, it was the first circuit to be awarded the Institute Centre of Excellence Award by the FIA, which is granted for safety and facilities. Now, if you Google this award, it won't come up with anything at all. It got it. What is it? Don't know.
It's the safest track in the world, remember, everyone. Nothing bad has ever happened at Bahrain.
No. But in all seriousness, they do have fantastic facilities there. The medical staff are on alert constantly. We've seen it with accidents before in Bahrain. We've seen it with drivers like Stroll getting flipped upside down, and of course that Roman accident, which thankfully he's been okay with so far. But nevertheless, I believe we're just rambling at this point.
We are just rambling.
We are
I
just
wanted to
rambling.
mention that fact because I forgot about it. But
yes, we will pass it over to the outro and wish you guys the very best evening possible. I've been JGM in the commentary booth here with Alex, Deathlink.
Yep, Deathlink. Either one. It's all good.
Either one. Thank you very much, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you, guys.
Desperately trying to hang on. He's got the inside. Up here is through on the left hand side. Hooks the apex, gets on the power nicely, and that is job done. Jarno Opmeer now to the last couple of corners now. His finest drive, his greatest drive, and he's done it at the Circuit of the Americas. He returns to the top step of the podium. Once again, the GOAT is back. Jarno Opmeer wins the US Grand Prix in a stunning Grand Prix.